Despite the progress that the global community has made in bringing clean water, safe sanitation, and basic hygiene to developing nations, we're still off track in meeting Sustainable Development Goal 6 by 2030. In developing Asian countries, more than 1.5 billion people lack access to modern sanitation, and around 80% of wastewater is discharged untreated, posing a threat to both human life and the environment's well-being. And in the face of the current global pandemic, the need for investments in water and sanitation has become even more urgent. The pandemic has made it clear that investments in the provision of basic water, sanitation, and hygiene services must be a key priority in the coming years, especially since the progress that has been made so far is further threatened by climate change and rising poverty levels. The World Bank estimates that $130 billion in capital investment will be needed to achieve these targets. The confluence of events, the global pandemic, climate change, rapid urbanization, enhanced by unrelenting advances in technology, has made it imperative for global institutions to prioritize efforts to provide access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all.
People are becoming more conscious about and more willing to pay for good environment and inclusive society, as well as governance.
Conventionally, most international investments are made in piped sewer networks, connected to centralized water treatment facilities. These are costly, provide minimal coverage, and are vulnerable to political priorities. Meanwhile, the operation of on-site sanitation and septage facilities are oftentimes inadequate.
The difficulties begin, obviously, with the technical problems of building urban infrastructure and finding the financial resources to proceed. However, all infrastructure projects have a political and social side as well.
Because of the heightened urgency to meet global development targets, there's a call for a transformation in the way water and sanitation is delivered to the developing world. This is where Citywide Inclusive Sanitation enters the picture. A new paradigm, Citywide is a more comprehensive and holistic approach to urban water and sanitation. One that encompasses both basic human needs and the protection of the environment, that takes into account differences in culture and socio-political conditions, and that provides the full sanitation service chain from containment to disposal. The goal: sustainable water, sanitation, and sewage systems for all.
Sewage and inclusive sanitation is really a process that thinks about how the people live and also how the society functions. Citywide sanitation is always on the priority list, but it is not really implemented fully because of the surmounting difficulties.
Generating investments for Citywide requires a more enabling environment. Establishing good practices in utilizing international aid, reforming policies, implementing financing schemes, recovering costs, building capacity, and maintaining operations are key to bringing sustainable water and sanitation services to those who need them most. Gaobeidian, a county-level city south of Beijing in the People's Republic of China, is the site of the Gaobeidian wastewater treatment plant, one of the country's largest sewage treatment plants.
There are very few wastewater treatment plants in China. So even early 1990s, the wastewater treatment rate was about 15%, very low. And while the water pollution problems have become more and more serious. In 2019, the wastewater treatment rate have increased to the over 95%. The PLC now has the world's largest wastewater treatment capacity with over 200 million cubic meter per day.
The Gaobeidian wastewater treatment plant experience presents important lessons that can help accelerate Citywide in Asia.
The Beijing municipality lacks sufficient budget and external financing and foreign currency. So the foreign loan really helped filling the gap.
Aside from providing the financial legs for Citywide's projects to stand on, long-term foreign loans make way for institutional reforms and corporate governance structures. Moreover, they fund the acquisition of advanced equipment and technologies, along with the training of technical experts.
So in the case of Gaobeidian, so through the international competitive bidding, the equipment are procured from 7 countries, including Japan, and equipment improve the stable and efficient operation of the treatment plant.
The Gaobeidian experience demonstrated how project implementation and well-designed training programs could give rise to competent leaders and experts.
Many capable engineers were trained. The participants of the training session were in fact the core members that the project had cultivated, and many of them led the construction of wastewater treatment plant in Beijing, and also they played leading roles in the PRC's wastewater sector as experts.
In the nascent field of citywide inclusive sanitation, capacity building is crucial to the success of such projects. The sharing of experiences, cross-fertilization of ideas, and education will unlock the potential of this new approach to urban water and sanitation development. The Global Sanitation Graduate School hopes to do just that.
In collaboration with more than 150 sanitation experts, we developed a new multidisciplinary curriculum on citywide inclusive sanitation. We have developed a huge portfolio of knowledge, which we are really ready to share with everybody who is interested in capacity development, transfer of knowledge, improvement of skills, also transferable skills, project management, capacity building on gender, the behavioral change, and so many other aspects which are essential for investments.
Every new professional developed with the interest and expertise in Citywide becomes part of a stronger movement to bring inclusive, universal, and sustainable water, sanitation, and sewage systems to underserved communities. Although it has been widely established that increasing investments in urban sanitation makes economic sense, uptake has been slow in many countries. One of the reasons is the difficulty in setting tariff rates that ensure the sustainability of sanitation services.
The price should be based on the principles of cost recovery and reasonable profits. So in the case of Beijing, Beijing started to introduce the wastewater tariffs in 1996, and at the 1997, the price is only 0.1 Chinese yuan per cubic meters. So starting from very low level and gradually increased to the point of 1.36 Chinese yuan per cubic meter in 2014. The introduction of wastewater tariff and also increasing the tariff contribute to recover the O&M cost and also the increasing the investment in wastewater sector.
Success has also been observed in integrating tariffs for water with sanitation and sewage services through a variety of financial schemes, such as socialized and subsidized rates.
Included the cost of sanitation into the tariff rates already, or the water bill. If the poor will be requesting to have their septic tanks dislodged, they do not have to pay extra. It's already included, and this is heavily subsidized by the other users. The more you consume, it's going to be more expensive. The less you consume, you will be heavily subsidized.
A key player in the success of any long-term urban sanitation project is the foresight and vision of the central government. along with the political will of local governments to embody national policies grounded on that vision.
So the Beijing, relationship with the central government is very strong, and the central government also put the very high priority on Beijing's economic and social development and dealing with environmental issues. What we can learn is how the local government could follow the central government policies and instructions, and try to persuade the central government to get more resources and for the sake of development of sanitation.
To achieve success in such long-term goals, institutional reforms are key in ensuring that policies from the central government are embodied at the local level.
How we really work together, how we can really implement the project need to be understood from the beginning. There are also some good cases like where the mayor and the local elected leaders are very, very much active. They are successfully generating multiple revenues from the locally. That is, I can see that in Bangladesh and India.
In the case of the Gaobeidian wastewater treatment plant, drainage pipes were put in place even before the treatment plant was constructed. This made a big difference in achieving door-to-door sewage connections with ease.
Even before the completion of the phase 1, the drainage pipes extended to the certain extent, and it contribute to the quick door-to-door connections. And this figure shows the annual treated wastewater at the Gaobeidian. And as you can see, starting from 1995, this plant has reached almost the full capacity in operation, reached over 90% of operation rate.
Because not all neighborhoods could be connected, however, the experience shed light on the importance of considering the unique conditions of each urban community when implementing Citywide's programs. Building a solid foundation for Citywide is a step-by-step process, fortified by good practices cultivated through every project's experience.
We need to have a right institutional framework and right mechanism, accountability mechanism, and resource planning, as well as we need to ensure that the service will be equitable, service will be distributed so that poor will get especially bad services. This is what we talk all about Citywide framework, Citywide principles, Citywide approaches.
Ultimately, delivering much-needed water and sanitation services and seeing progress flow from there on will take more than the nuts and bolts of infrastructure. It will take a comprehensive approach while remaining attuned to the unique environments of the cities we work with. This is how citywide inclusive sanitation will really take root and flourish.